Well, good morning and welcome to day 3 of working with our new wildlife ambassador and dear friend. Her name is Belle, and she is a 20-week-old female Harris hawk from a captive breeding program in New Orleans. And see that little tail wiggle? That little tail wiggle is really a very, very good sign, because Harris hawks do that when they greet their family members, and so she's starting to accept me as a member of her clan, and so we love to see her wiggle her tail. That's a very, very positive sign of, hello, I know who you are. Now it's still very early in the training stages, and we still have to be really gentle when we approach her and pick her up, because everything right now is so critical. You don't want to frighten them, you don't want to upset them, you want to be very, very gentle so that you maintain that friendship with these hawks. And friendship's probably the wrong word, because that's not why they come back to us. But that confidence and that trust that we need. Now, she still may bait, because when we go pick her up, other hawks don't pick them up. So this is a good experience for her. And so far, for the last couple of days, she has been just held and offered food, and it's been very quiet. And today she goes on her first little trip out to the field, not to fly, but just to go for a little drive and to look around at a new environment. So let's go ahead and get little Belle. Hi, sweetheart. How's my girl? And as you see, she's going, well, wait a minute, you're approaching really close. There's the bait that I was expecting. Okay, there's my sweet lady. There's my Belle. There's my pretty Belle. How you doing, sweetie? How we doing, huh? How we doing? You're such a pretty girl. Okay, let's go. There's my pretty girl. Oh. There's my girl. Okay. Hi, sweetheart. I know everything's so still brand new to you. Now, again, like always, we want to get her clipped immediately to the glove. Such a good girl. You're such a pretty Belle. You are doing so good this morning. That's my lady. Okay, now we go out and we weigh her. That's my baby. Get her on the scale. That's my girl. See how much she weighs. There's my sweet girl. Okay. And so everybody, this is our newest friend. This is Belle. Come on up. And she is doing wonderful. Okay, little lady, you ready to go for your first drive? Here we go, sweetheart. Is it on?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Shall we see what you weigh this morning, sweetie? Because I know you're still very much overweight. You're still a fat girl. You are. You're still a very fat girl. There's my lady. Wonderful. That's my baby. Okay. 990 grams is her weight. Realistically, before we can start flying her, she's really going to have to be around 950 grams. So we've got another 40 grams of weight to lose, which is a couple of ounces. But that's okay. That's okay, huh, baby? Huh, Belle? Shall we see what the hood looks like today for you? Now this is our hood, and this is something we have to acclimate them to. And we've been very, very careful. We just lightly stroke her holding the hood, lightly stroke her with the hood to kind of get her to think that the hood is not going to hurt her and it's okay. And then we quietly bring the hood up and put it over her eyes. Oh, there we go. Okay, good girl. And we only leave it on, at this stage, we only leave it on for a short time, just a minute or so. So she starts to get used to how that fits and how that goes on. And we're not going to transport her with the hood. So there's my pretty girl. Oh yeah, you're doing wonderful. Yeah, that's a good hood lesson. That was a very good hood lesson. It really was, sweetie. Very good hood lesson. Yes, it was. And a lot of falconers don't understand why I get right up in nose to nose. And this is actually, this is very much a trust thing. The birds start to understand that, you know, I trust her completely, that she's not going to rip a big chunk of flesh off my nose, and I'm very calm and comfortable with her, and that makes her feel more comfortable with me. And so some hawks really are nervous and high-strung, and you can't get away with that as well. But the Harris hawk is actually one of the more docile temperaments birds of prey, and so it's very, very important to get really close to them and let them know that they're safe and that you're going to handle them. And I talk to her all the time, just kind of constantly. There's your perch. There's my pretty girl. Oh yes, there's my pretty girl. Let's get this on clip. It's her. Now, Belle has been with me for 3 days, and this is our very first trip away from home, out into the wild environment with her, and so we'll go ahead and start getting her. Now I always have to start with, I have the leash on her, and I have that wrapped around my hand a couple of times, and I crack the door very gently to make sure that we're good. And I bring my hand in very quietly and slowly so that she hopefully, there's my girl. Come on, Belle. There's my pretty girl. See, here's Belle. Now, as soon as I get her out, before I do anything, because I've got a good grip on that thing, I want her clipped to my glove. And that's extremely important because it only takes a split second for her to jump, and if I lose grip on this cord, she flies away with this dangling from her, and if she does that, we've got a dead bird, because this will wrap around fence posts, this will wrap around barbed wire, this will wrap around branches and trees, and they'll end up hanging themselves to death. And so the leash is a necessity, but if it can be very dangerous if you're not extremely careful with it. And then I wrap the leash in my glove a little bit, just so that it's out of the way. And now my little girl is out in the open. Right now she is just getting food. We're not calling her to the glove or anything. I'm just trying to convince her that I'm a nice person and I'm a really soft touch, and I give her lots and lots of food available. And so anytime she comes up on my glove, I just have some food here for her. What this is a quail. This is the exact same quail that you buy at the grocery store. The difference is it still has all of its feathers. So this is, you know, just not butchered. It's just a quail, and we buy these frozen by the hundreds to feed the injured wildlife that we care for. And so this is the quail that we thawed out, and in the hopes that she will eat a little tiny bit. And we're now just going to quietly, we're just going to walk. We're going to try to get her used to the movements of being on the glove. Yes, that's a good girl. And so we're just going to walk a little bit, and I've got her hood, and we can kind of get her used to the idea of the hood, and we're going to touch her. And this is actually one of the best parts of falconry. This is the time that you build the relationship with the animal, and this is the time when you can watch them thinking. and watch them use their brains and try to understand the environment and what's going on. And it's really, it's a tremendous educational time. It's really just so much fun to see everything that these guys are doing and thinking and trying to understand, because it's a new world for them. It's a very new world. If you can imagine that 3 days ago, she was in Louisiana and she was in a large flight chamber with a dozen other sibling Harris hawks, and she was caught up and put in a very small box, put on an airplane and flown for about 4 or 5 hours to Salt Lake City, you know, with a lot of bumps and a lot of people handling her and a lot of disturbance, and it was very frightening to her, I'm sure. And so we now, my job right now is to convince her that all that scary stuff is done. All the scary stuff is done, and now she's got a new family member. In fact, not only myself, but my beautiful wife Susan, who's shooting the video, and our grandchildren and our friends. She's got a whole new pack to be introduced to, and we're very, very nice people. Yes, we are. We're nice people. Huh, sweetie? And we just try to make sure that this whole process goes along so she feels safe and comfortable. And the safer and more comfortable she feels, the quicker her training will go. That's my girl. Yes, there's my pretty Belle. Yes, you did. You had a little goodie. Yes, you did. What a good girl. And this is really, it's a beautiful place. This is called the Parowan Gap. Go ahead and pan around the gap a little bit. This is sacred Native American ground. We have a lot of Indian petroglyphs here. I've got a nesting pair of golden eagles that nest on the ledges here. I've got prairie falcons, peregrine falcons. I've got horned owls and red-tailed hawks, all nesting right in this area. So this is really wonderful, wonderful habitat for the wildlife. You get just stand on one foot, huh, sweetie? Yeah. And see, this is nice. She's just up on one foot, which means she's comfortable. She's not gripping at all. She's looking very, very alert. And she's actually, in her own way, she's just saying, hey, do you have another one of those little tidbits? I would like another one. That was good. Yes, you're asking, aren't you? You're asking in your sweet little way. There you go. There you go. What a good girl. Yeah, there's the rest. There's a whole bunch right there. But it says, I'm not hungry enough to bend over and pull my own food yet. But if you're going to hand me a little treat, then that's okay. Yes. Yeah, you still have a lot of weight to lose before you'll be starting to be trained and flown. But right now, it's just socializing. Now, this is her hood. And again, we're getting her used to the hoods. And we stroke her with the hood. We put the hood over her face. There we go, sweetie. Okay. And again, I don't, at this stage of the game, I don't tighten the hood down. I just put it on her for just about a minute, just a few seconds to a minute, and just leave it there so she starts to understand what the hood does. And then we take the hood off when she's comfy. There's my girl. That was very good. And so she needs to understand it's, you know, can you imagine a big giant taking something and putting it over your head? It would be terrifying, but we try to make this just as gentle a process so it doesn't upset her as we possibly can. And so the whole time, especially for this week, is kindness and gentleness and patience and understanding. And if we really do our job this week, we will turn out a wonderful wildlife ambassador and falconry bird that doesn't feel endangered when they're doing shows. Huh, Piper? Or not Piper. Huh, Belle? Such a good girl. Such a pretty girl. Yes, you are. And look at that. She just took the hood. So sweet. And we just love that. Yes, we do. We just love that. Now, some people will ask, why the hood? Why do you do that? And the truth of the matter is that the purpose for the hood is the same reason when you see horses in the city. They have blinders on to stop all the peripheral movement from frightening them. Well, these guys' eyesights are so good that a lot of movement will drive them nuts. And though the Harris hawk is probably one of the commonest of all the birds of prey to work with, but if something happens and a helicopter flies overhead, or a whole bunch of guys racing through with motorcycles and ATVs, or something really terrifying is about to happen, I can take the hood and I can just slide it over her eyes. Oop, that's my girl. I can just slide it over her eyes, and then all of that terrifying movement won't frighten her. There's my pretty girl. And so this is really this is her security, and that helps to keep her calm. And so we always want our break our birds, called break to the hood, but train to the hood is what we do, so that when we're working with these guys and an emergency situation shows up, we can pop the hood on, and whatever happens in the environment doesn't terrify them. And so everything we do for these guys, it's all about making things safe and comfortable for them. And the more comfortable she is, the more likely that she's going to work with me when we're out on the desert and all of this comes off and she's flying free and we're having a great old time when she's out chasing rabbits, and when we're standing in an auditorium with 500 screaming children, and she'll be comfortable because she knows that she's safe, and that's our goal. So this is Belle. We're very, very happy to have her as a member of the family, and we look forward to hopefully many, many years. Yes, many years of a relationship, and many years of educating the public. You're going to be a good wildlife ambassador, I can tell. What a sweetheart. Did the bath feel good? Will you flop around and get me soaking wet now?
Why not?
That's your job. Okay, Belle. Yes, sweetie. Like a bite? I know there's an ugly dog.
Cody.
He's really ugly.
Come here, Cody.
Huh.
Bring it here.